Hello YouTube, I'm going to be doing a reading today. Just a quick collective reading and see what stories we get. I'm going to start with the Lenormand. My name is Oliviabusby. I'm a tarot reader, channeler, oracle reader. I'm a theologian, a creative doula, and I offer personal readings. You can message me. All the information is in the description box. I do YouTube videos. I speak on my own theological understandings under my video, Black Ancestral Process Theology. I have YouTube lives or Instagram lives on my Instagram, and that information's in the description box. I also have tarot readings that I do on TikTok, and that's also in the description box. And all of these readings are different than the readings that I do on YouTube, so it's just extra fun. Let's get started. Oh, great. So we've got the fish. You can see that. We've got the house, and we've got the woman. And so right out the gate, I'm thinking like successful, and I'm just a channeler, so I'm just going to give different stories and see how it accumulates into a larger story. So first out the gate, I was thinking with the fish, like lots of money, like an abundance of money, and it could be from a home business or working from home. Maybe a woman's working from home. I'm also doing a home birth, or like, yeah, a home birth. Or just living in, maybe a woman living in an abundant home, or a woman who makes a home abundant, and that could be through children, because the fish can like go speak on childbirth. I think I want to pick maybe 3 more Lenormand just to get more of the story to this. Yeah, so this definitely could be children. I'm getting, so the next card was the star, the lily, and the bouquet. And so that is like moving towards the direction of like sensuality and love and abundance and love and prosperity and love. And so definitely could be a business that's going really well, or a home birth that's bringing in like this immense amount of, a loving family, or love in the family. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, and then we have the Nine of Gourds, the Nine of Cups. We got the Chief, which is the Emperor, and the Five of Coins reversed, Five of Pentacles reversed. Um, hmm. Yeah, this is definitely a reading about um the woman is kind of the signifier, so it can point to, you all. And if it's not a woman, then don't worry about that. It doesn't have to be gender. But I am getting a story of like a home birth that's bringing in immense amount of love in the home. The Nine of Gourds is kind of like emotional comfort. The Chief, like if imagine you're having a child or you're starting a business from home. Um, you're kind of becoming like a leader in that space, and then the five and a leader in that space, and a leader in that job. The Five of Coins is kind of moving away from, moving into a new venture, moving away from emotional or material instability. Um, let's get some clarifiers. So I want to kind of know. I want to know. What do I want to know? Let's get some information on like where this emotional comfort, where this Nine of Gourds, like where the emotional comfort's coming from. To also kind of clarify the fish, because the fish is giving like a connection for me on like where that emotional comfort's coming from, the like abundance that's coming into the home because of this woman, or so we got the Ten of Wands, which is definitely making me continue to think of like business and just putting in all the passion and energy for a business. We got the Four of Cups reversed. And the Three of Swords reversed, clarifying the Nine of Gourds. So yeah, the Nine of Gourds is emotional. Whatever is this abundance in a home or this abundant direction that you're moving towards. Maybe it's moving into a home and feeling like it's a very abundant space, feeling the love in that space, feeling the emotional comfort in that space. Um, the Ten of Wands with the Four of Cups reversed and the Three of Swords reversed. It's giving like, yeah, it's just like the sort of the emotional comfort is coming from having done this like immense amount of work to get to this new space and move in this new direction. And the Four of Cups reversed. It's just giving me like more emotional comfort, and because you could see like it's someone that's kind of like being handed something and they're just not content with it. They're not paying attention to it. And so I see this as someone who's like maybe being very aware of like all the great things that are happening in their lives, all the great offers that are coming, and moving away from like this kind of like heartbreak space. Well, let's get who this chief is. Because I feel like the chief might be someone different than this woman. Than this, like, signifier. So I'm getting the chief is being clarified by the temperance reversed, the 8 of coins reversed, and the 10 of cups. What is happening here? So with the temperance and the 8 of coins reversed, I'm not getting really anything really bad off of it. I think it's just continuing to say that the chief, it's an Aries card and I'm an Aries. So there's definitely, especially with this other aspect of it where there's emotional comfort and there's putting in hard work and recognizing all the hard work that you have put in. The temperance with the 8 of coins reverse is just kind of, because for me, the chief can be someone that can just work too hard sometimes. The chief can be someone that's like so focused on the go, 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 the movement forward. Especially with this 5 of coins here being like leaving behind, like this, and getting like an intense feeling of wanting to leave behind whatever is not a part of this like emotional comfort and stability and like this beauty in the life. And so, and then I have the 4 of swords at the bottom. So I'm definitely getting the story that, you know, the chief can work too hard, they can do too much, they can be so in their masculine or yang energy, so focused on doing and doing and doing. This temperance and 8 of coins reverse is kind of clarifying that there was maybe an excess of overworking, and now with the 10 of cups, it's like, you know, just like bask in all the hard work, and you see like a family with a home, and this is like pertaining to a home. So I'm definitely getting like energy around you know, someone just basking in this like new direction that they're going towards. And maybe it's and maybe it's kind of like saying like chill out and don't worry so much about, you know, maybe that overworking, that need to like excessively work and do is like in the past. At least for the moment, just enjoy this comfort. Let's clarify the 5 of coins. What are we leave? This is like, what are we leaving? What's being left behind, or it's clarified by the Hierophant, the Ace of Wands, and The Hierophant, the Ace of Wands reversed, and the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Yeah, so like traditional ways of like being passionate, traditional ways of expressing passion, traditional ways of, and this passion is like traditional ways of doing, because the Ace of Wands is about like starting a project, starting a passion project, or moving forward with a huge amount of like energy and momentum. And so with the Wheel of Fortune, it's like that's kind of changing and to move away from that traditional way of like that traditional way of like working, the traditional way of overworking, or even the traditional, if it is a at-home job, a passion project type of job, like moving away from traditional ways of working and working for someone else, working for some, putting your passion into like not putting your passion into structures and systems that don't really care about you. And I've been talking about this a lot with different people, and it's come up, a sort of energy has come up in readings I've done recently where a lot of people have been talking about um, sort of being in a space where we feel like we have to like punish ourselves for not constantly being busy, not constantly being in production mode. If we take a moment to just do something that we are super passionate about, or do something that we really care about, or do something that honestly might not be doing anything. I know for me as an Aries and with this chief card, a lot of times if I'm not doing something that is seemingly productive for money or productive to someone else, then I feel like I'm really not doing anything. And you could ask me at the end of the week, like, what did you do what you been doing all week? And I'll probably just be like, and a lot of times I'm just like, nothing, I didn't do anything. But then when I really think about all the things I'm doing a lot. It's just not for anybody else but myself, or it's not necessarily with the end goal of making money largely for someone else. And so um, the Six of Wands reversed was underneath the deck, at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, it's definitely moving away from like this doubt and punish, like needing to like doubt and punish that what you're doing is in the right direction. A lot of people I've been talking to are like starting businesses, and there's a, including myself, there's a mentality that I've had to, and I've talking to other people have had to get out of, where we believe, especially if it's a spiritual business. But no matter what, everything is simultaneously happening in a spiritual process and a material process. But if believing that if you're not getting the results that you want out of something, that you're not doing something right, or that you have to do something different, or yeah, if it's not working fast enough for you, or if you're not, then it's just not working, and you have to like scrap it or punish yourself for wanting to even do this and not um the chief moves, the chief with Aries energy, especially, that's complete like faith. And with the Temperance reverse under the chief, it's like that Aries energy of like, the chief is the Aries energy, the cardinal fire of like starting, being very good at starting something and putting all the immense amount of like passion into starting something. And with the Temperance reversed, there's this idea of Sagittarius energy where you come in and then you're gone. It's this mutable fire. And so I think this is kind of wanting to like keep going, even if the hard work doesn't look like it's producing what you wanted to produce. To just keep going. And maybe there's something that you're doing that might be sort of traditional. Maybe there's something you're doing that might seem traditional, or like this is the way you should be doing it. Like this is the steps that you take to do it. So of course it should be working. And if it's not working, it's not necessarily that there's a lack of passion or that there's a lack of that there's something that should be completely left behind in what you're doing. Or, maybe it's looking at unconventional ways of moving forward with it. But the Hierophant is like, it is tradition. So maybe the passion energy, the Ace of Wands, with the Ace of Wands reverse, and the Wheel of Fortune reverse, maybe the passionate energy, the passion can be expressed in a different way, or you can maneuver the passion in a different way, or think of different strategies for doing something, different ways of doing something, and kind of get outside of the box with your thinking. But the Hierophant is also that kind of like traditional aspect of like religion or tradition, in the sense that there are some things are traditions because they work. And so it's kind of that consistency. Maybe it's looking at traditional ways of doing it, meaning look back to maybe what has been working, like what are the staples in business, or in what are the staples that throughout time have traditionally worked, and how can you maybe like change them, or use that as kind of a basis to think of different ways of doing something. Let's get some ancestor cards, see what the ancestors are saying. But it feels like a really great reading of like, even the reverse cards feel to just kind of keep saying like, saying either like a continue to do this, or you are like really recognizing the beauty around you, the gratitude around you, like especially with this like Four of Cups in reverse, like when spirit or when an offer is handed to you, you are able to like recognize it and see and have gratitude in that, and find emotional comfort in the fact that things are still moving and they are still going. And it's like this card is reminding me of like, if you want something more from the world, like if you want something more from the universe, if you want the simulation or matrix or spirit or whoever to like spit out more of what you want to you, the best way to do that is to completely be aware and bring gratitude into your awareness of that thing. And so if, for example, with this business, if I want more readings, then every reading that I do, I need to completely be aware of, and of course feeling, because feeling is all part of the process of, it's one of the biggest processes like that we don't pay close attention to. And with this Nine of Gourds, it's like feel the immense amount of feelings and comfort and gratitude that you feel when doing that thing. So if I want more readings, when I do a reading, I'm like completely grateful of that moment when I'm in the reading and just feeling all the emotions of like how I'm feeling with that reading. I didn't want to do a reading recently. Like this reading, I didn't really want to come on and I was kind of tired. But then I know that like sometimes the doing produces the feeling. So sometimes if you don't feel like doing something, doing it, especially when you are grateful to do it, and especially when you enjoy doing it, doing something can lead to the feeling of whatever you want to feel afterwards. So and that goes back to the Hierophant about like discipline. Um, the one of the best ways to establish discipline is to recognize how you feel when you do something. And if you feel and after you, like, let's say I am too tired to do yoga, but I know that once I do yoga or once I meditate or once I do a reading or once I do something that makes me feel good, once I take a shower, once I eat or drink water, then my body feels good and my emotions feel clear. And if I feel good afterwards, then the next time that I'm not feeling so good, I might tell myself, no, I don't want to do that because I don't feel good. But many times the doing produces the feelings, and it's not to be led by the feelings, but knowing how to um, collaborate with the feelings and like kind of produce new feelings in a way. We got the table and the anchor. We got the table. This is from the Black Lenormand deck. And it says family. Though we've been conditioned to feel and act alone, we are actually meant to forge meaningful relationship with those who deeply nourish us on a mental, physical, and spiritual level, transcending flesh, blood, and time. Are you surrounding yourself with divine family whose support aligns with your highest good? Have you given them the language to love you? Are they equipped to use it? Are you equipped to do the same for them? Lastly, be mindful of when you are being loyal to someone who is really meant to be a lesson. Hmm. Okay. So yeah, there's a whole the anchor is stagnancy. People get used to anything. The less you think about your oppression, the more your tolerance for it grows. To become free, you have to be acutely aware of being a slave. That's by a quote by Asada Shakur. This card asks you to step outside of your comfort zone as often as possible, because sometimes stagnancy can masquerade as safety. Existing only within the confines of the familiar can be a prison. Allow yourself to discover new modes of being, new ideas and activities. Literally move, let trapped energy find release, let freedom be a destination that keeps evolving and decolonizing itself. So that's funny because I literally, when I opened the reading, I saw a whole story around family, but I think doing a reading about family would kind of be out of my comfort zone, so I just kind of didn't keep talking about it. But there is like a story here around like I was saying before, family, starting a family, being the comfort in the home and the abundance in the family, or feeling the comfort in the home and the abundance in the family. And then the story I'm getting with that is like, of course, that the Lenormand cards kind of talk about that situation. The Nine of Gourds is this accumulation of emotional comfort that has been maintained. The Ten of Staffs is speaking towards the work that it's taken to maintain that. The Four of Cups could be boundaries and knowing when to, knowing what cups you want to be offered and what cups you don't want to be offered. The Three of Swords can definitely go towards that too. Like if there is a feeling of, if someone is meant to be a lesson, or if someone is, like this card is saying, if someone is not equipped to use the language of love that you've given them, or to if they're not supporting you, or they're not feeling like divine family, or it's not a relationship that's nourishing you mentally, physically, and spiritually, then in order to maintain these nine cups, and to honor all of the work that you've like put in to maintain, to have those nine cups, and to feel that like kind of inner peace, it is sometimes necessary to reject some cups if they're not full with the substance that you need to feel nourished in relationship. The Temperance is giving me like this kind of wishy-washiness. So like the divine guidance, like there's divine guidance that kind of comes with relationships, and it's a very, like, the Chief is very intuitive and very much connected to their intuition and their instincts, um, in order to make decisions. And the Temperance with and the Eight of Coins reversed, it's kind of just telling me like it doesn't have to be such hard work to know who's in your corner. Um, mm, yeah, because I have instances with certain people where I feel like I have to, because Temperance is about excess, and the Eight of Coins reversed is about like, it can be like working too hard or not putting in enough hard work. And so on one hand, it's like people putting in um, an excess of mediocrity when it comes to relationships. Like, you're just not doing enough for me here, um, to want to maintain a relationship. And Aries energy with the Chief is also very quick to, as an Aries, like, it doesn't take a lot of work to know when someone's not going to be putting in the work for a certain relationship. And so sometimes the Aries energy can be, the Chief can be very like loyal. It's a lot of like loyal energy. I'll be completely loyal and just keep that loyalty. But then also at Aries energies, there's a moment when it's just like, when the patterns start to build up and you realize that that loyalty is not really serving you. There's a moment when it's like this, there's no like hard work being put here. There's no, you know you realize people are not equipped to love you in the way that you need them to love you. And it doesn't take hard work to recognize that. And if someone is not equipped with the ability to put in the work to do that, then that's fine, because there is divine family available. And the Five of Coins, the Hierophant is making me think of like traditional ideas of family. Um, my ears ringing. Traditional ways of family. Anything can be a cult. And I feel like my experience has kind of been, anything can be a cult, and family is definitely a social construct. Um, of course, there's the family that you're born into, which, if you're adopted, then that's not necessarily the story, or that adds more complications and complexities to the story of family. There's the family that you're maybe raised by not your parents but your grandparents, or um maybe your traditional way of being in family is not necessarily. Essentially, family is a social construct, and so it kind of is what you make it. And we like to a lot of times people can use family in this sort of cultish way, as if like because you're family that you have to put up with certain things and you don't, or because you're family then they use that as like you owe them something, or you have to have some type of connection. But I think family sort of can also be, it says, be mindful of when you're being loyal to someone who's really been meant to be a lesson. Family, the family we grew up with, the family we're born into, whatever the story is for you, whether you're adopted or whether you grew up with different family than the family that you're blood related to, those are our greatest lessons, our first biggest lessons. The people that you grow up and live with are a very essential part of the lessons that you are given at the foundation and of the foundation of your life. And sometimes that's just what it is. And it doesn't have to be more than that. You can get older and realize that, oh, that's what your place is in my life cosmically, like on a cosmic level. I came into this world, and through these people that I lived with and grew up with, I learned these certain things about who I am, who I'm not, who I don't want to be, who I'm becoming. And that can just be what it is. And so if people are not equipped to love you in the way that you need to be loved, even if they are family, there's many different ways to think about family. And we can have these sort of like, in the US, it's very productive to many systems and structures to have this idea of the family unit and the social construct of family that can turn very like the cult of family. Um, and the cult of family kind of distinguishes our role. And so when you're born into a family, you now become daughter, you now become mother, you now become father, you now become sister, brother. It's very gendered. And that distinguishes, because gender is a social construct too, so all of that distinguishes your role. You are a sister in there, and you are an older sister, or you are a firstborn sister, and therefore you need to do these things and these things and these things, and you're required to have these type of, it's like all these like we come into the world knowing, being put into a place, and that place is set and it's very traditional. And then at a certain point, and this is looking like that certain point where you can decide, no, I don't want to do that. That's not the role I want to play anymore. And I don't have to play that role anymore. And if you're not equipped to see me in the many roles that I can play outside of the roles that I was, in some ways, didn't even have a choice to play, then there's the love that I need here is not here. And that's when that ace of wands reverse, and that wheel of fortune reversed, you can take your little wand and go where you need to go. As you can see, this is like the five of coins is like a ship that's sailing away with like five coins. And the card is referencing like actual like migrants and immigration. And so, yeah, if this could be a story of like moving away from family, getting away from family, and then the process of like when you do that, what roles do you now want to play? Um, like, do you want you realize all the different roles that you play that are outside of those roles that you were given at a certain time or point in your life. And it doesn't have to be just the people you grew up with, even if you, especially with this reading, like if you are starting a family, you can, as the emperor in your house, as the person that's bringing abundance and love and beauty to your house, you can decide what roles you want to play in that space, what roles you want your children to play, what roles you want your partner to play. You don't have to like, you can get creative with this space and make it as comfortable, like the emotional comfort. You can set the table for how you want to. Yeah, it says people get used to anything the less you think about your oppression, the more your tolerance for it grows. To become free, you have to be acutely aware of being a slave. And so you have to be acutely aware of all the roles that you're playing, because those are the roles you had to play in your home, in your space where you're comfortable, in the place where you find emotional comfort. And then this is like moving in a new direction with the stars to, like get outside of the box and like create a new space of beauty and comfort in the abundance that you like want to have in that space. And not just be like, this is talking about stagnancy creates a masquerade of safety. And so if you're comfortable playing the role of daughter in a specific way, or playing the role of father in a specific way, because that's what you've seen or that's what you've been doing, at any moment as creators of our existence, you may not be able to control what other people can do, but you can set your boundaries and let people know what you will be able to deal with and what you're not going to be able to deal with. um and you can take your wand wherever you need to take it. But yeah, let freedom be a destination that keeps evolving and decolonizing itself. And so like the decolonization process goes all the way to our homes, to our personal spaces, to our personal roles that we play in community and in family, and knowing that none of those roles have to be fixed or stagnant or kept for the comfort of others. If you're not comfortable playing a certain role, and as you become more aware of your discomfort with playing a certain role, um, then recast yourself. And I think I'm going to leave it there with 43, 43, and then 43, 44 on the timer. Um, yeah, if you'd like to book me for a reading, again, all the information is in the description box. And just, I will leave you with like, be very aware of all of the ways that traditional mindsets and traditional ways of being and traditional roles and traditional systems, it all trickles down to us. If you feel like you have to do something out of obligation, there might be a source that at some point there's a source that at some point that was considered a rule and or a traditional way of doing something. And to be aware of like where your obligations come from. Are they coming from like who you want to be and who you want to become, or are they coming from some tradition or structure that was decided on long before you were existing? And if so, it's really the absolute pristine moment to do something different. Um, so yeah, Thank y'all. Have a great one.